Sorry, I didn't have 45 minutes.
Perfect.
That's perfect though. Would you be willing to take like a few questions or comments?
Yes, I will try to answer some questions. There may be certain things if it pertains to the lawsuit that I may not be able to talk about.
Understood. For starters, what can the Libertarian Party of Connecticut do to aid CCDL?
That is a very good question. I would say make sure that the folks that are members of the Libertarian Party, obviously, certainly vote in opposition, when the time comes to vote in opposition to those who helped install this law.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, you know, us being nonpartisan, we're ready, prepared to vote out whoever we can that was a part of this. We know some people are basically going to be untouchable, but we're going to do our very best to at least make those that went along with this that are vulnerable pay on some level.
Yeah, one thing you had said, and I think we kind of come from similar experience on this, is like CCDL started very, very, very small, and I know a few years ago the Libertarian Party of Connecticut was, I hate to put it to this way, I mean functionally non-existent. I'd probably say around like 2007, 2008. And it's very interesting, kind of like going from almost nothing, and you start to build on things, you start to like learn new skills. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how that's been for CCDL as an organization.
About the skills that we've learned?
Yeah, just the skills and the things you've gone through as the organization's like, you know, grown. I mean...
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny. Ironically, everybody that was at that first dinner that night, and a lot of the people that have come along, a lot of the executives that have come along since, everybody brought something to the table, it seemed like. Anybody that got involved at any serious level was, to me, it was almost a magical time because one woman knew how to build a website. She didn't really know how to build a website, but she was a code writer, and she said, I'm going to build a website for us, and she did. And then other people were skilled at other things as well. So everybody, and anything we didn't know, we essentially asked questions or sought out people to help us with these questions and help us. And then the VCDL down in Virginia shared some key information. My personal, the thing that I brought to the table was, I mean, essentially what I do in my day job is I work in logistics at a truck brokerage. I help move freight around the country from place to place to place. I think those skills may have worked out at some level, but I was also, again, in the speech, I've been a Department of Corrections volunteer for the last 18 plus years, and at that time I had probably about 13 years experience in it, because I do believe that there are certainly a large segment of our society that are in jail for nonviolent crimes and for essentially because our government, and this is Scott speaking, this isn't necessarily CCDL, but essentially for legislating what people put into their bodies and do with their minds, and essentially whether or not they use drugs or whatever that lands them in jail. So I'm a firm believer that I don't want to think that anybody should just be thrown away in our society. If it's a violent criminal that robs somebody of their life or things like that, then that's a whole other issue. But there are people incarcerated right now that probably, and from some of the ones that I've met through the years, that either A, don't belong to be here, or B, have in fact turned their lives around after. So the experience I had was to be able to coordinate volunteers throughout the state already at that level, to get them motivated, to get them to be able to go into the prisons and be a part of trying to make a difference there. Did I answer your question? I did.
Yeah, I was just kind of interested, like, you know, how the experience was, like, going from almost nothing. I mean, you know, and it just kind of seemed like it came together, which I think it does in a lot of cases with organizations like our party and I think CCDL,
Yep.
especially CCDL, because it just honestly came out of nowhere almost.
Well, right, and those first, it didn't really come out of nowhere. It may seem like it did, but those first 4 years, there were a lot of visits to, we had these posters, you know, flyers that we would bring to gun shops, and hey, you know, new grassroots gun organization. And what happened is, some of our members, myself sometimes, other people would go into some of these gun shops and say, hey, can we hang this up there? And we would be met with scrutiny. Obviously, the first year or so, especially because, like, who are you guys and what do you stand for? Are you a bunch of crazy people? You know, leave it here and I'll check out your website and I'll get back to you or whatever. And now, literally, since we are the center part of the lead organization involved with the lawsuit, we're named plaintiffs in the lawsuit, but we're also the chief fundraising partner as well. We have people, I have gun shops and gun clubs that I never even knew were even out there sending us money to hold, and we're entrusted with these funds to make sure that they are safe for our attorneys to follow through with this lawsuit. And this is a big action that we have going on right now. We have top attorneys in the state of Connecticut. So there's just so many things that you learn along the way, and sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we do things the wrong way, and we take our lumps or whatever, and then we learn from them, hopefully, and try to grow and try to improve. Yes.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for everything that your organization has been doing. I hadn't heard of CCDL until the Sandy Hook shooting. And when I went to the Capitol in Hartford, I think it was in December when they were having one of those open hearings, or January, where
Right.
like you could go and talk and speak. There were so many people there, thousands of people. Did CCDL have something to do with that as well?
Oh, yeah. We turned out hundreds and hundreds of members that day. But one of the things that we did was, and we had done for a few years, was we put on these legislative testimony workshops to teach people proper testimony, how to write the testimony, how to follow everything from writing and preparing your testimony to going and speaking to also being able to follow and track the bills on the website. We give all that information because I don't ever want to have somebody sit there and say, hey, there's a gun hearing in Hartford and maybe I should do something about that. But all those other guys are going to go, that's too scary for me. I don't want to do that. We need people. We need the enthusiasm. We need the level of engagement that and you went on your own without any help from CCDL, which is great because you care about your rights. Obviously, again, you're here tonight. So,
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there that, and I was one of them. That for a number of years I thought that, somebody will go up and testify for me, and then things are going to be okay. But what happened was year after year after year, I'd see a new gun law would pass, the safe storage law would pass, or self-storage, Safe Storage Act would pass. And these things were just, every year something would happen where somebody's got to do something, and that's really one of the chief reasons that we formed, was to be able to put up. We had a few years of success until Sandy Hook happened.